we will get started, and then as people flow in, that will be fine. I think we have a couple other experts coming in. I did have two people are a pre-recorded interview, but I will share their information so you can get connected with them and also receive the resources from them and free gift. That would be good. And I would love to hear from all of you guys tuning in. I know some of you shared where you're tuning in from. That is awesome. And if you are interested in one particular area of holistic health and healing, or if it's like mental health that you're most interested in learning more about, it would really be awesome. There is a chat box if you're able to share that. We would love to just know how we can serve you better and provide you the information that will really support your needs the most. Hello, welcome. All right. So if you guys would share that, and then we will get going. All right. So Alina, I think we're going to have you start. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Would you just share with everyone a little bit more about who you are and what you do and what your area of holistic health is?
Hi, everyone. And I am so honored to be here among all of these amazing people sharing the healing light. I am an RTT practitioner. There is a rapid transformational therapist in Marisa Peer School. I specialize in inner child work or healing by getting to the root cause of emotional blocks, limiting beliefs, trauma, and by eliminating all of those limiting beliefs, we get the power of true freedom within and the power of peace, love, and joy with curiosity, because children, they are born confident. They don't care when they are born that they don't have hair or they don't have teeth. They don't have a bad hair day or like, I can't smile because I got no teeth. So along the way, we acquire these beliefs where we lose our confidence, we lose our self-esteem. We even don't know what our purpose is. And RTT, or rapid transformational therapy, allows healing at the subconscious level, where 90% of our thoughts, behaviors, and patterns are run by a system of beliefs. And when we have limiting beliefs, that stops us from living a fulfilled life.
Yeah. And I actually want to say, Alina, I am using Alina for my RTT therapy, and it has been absolutely amazing. In fact, I'm listening. So part of the, the inner healing, we went back to something I didn't even recall ever, being a thing, but my dad struggled with managing his own emotions. And so he tried to control everything around him. And that meant like really trying to control my mother, trying to control us. And I took on a lot of beliefs from that. And working with Alina is what allowed me to understand that, access that, and then reprogram that. And in fact, I'm still listening to a recording audio that she did for me. And I listen to it every night going to bed. It is the most peaceful, amazing thing I've listened to. I get excited. I'm like, oh, I got to go to bed, and I get to listen to my recording. And it has been absolutely amazing. So I want to ask you now, Alina, how did you develop a passion for this area of holistic health and wellness?
Well, I love helping people. That was in my genes, I think, since I was a child. I was the caregiver in my family, taking care of everyone, loving everyone. So that passion of helping and healing was the area. I think we are in an era where healing is so broad and so beautiful, and we have so much access to it. What truly drawn me to RTT, or to the rapid transformational therapy, is the fact that we can get in our subconscious in a very short amount of time. And when I talk about short amount of time, we can do it within minutes. And then we can process and do the healing at subconscious level within an hour and achieve a transformation that you could be working maybe for decades in talk therapy, and you could never access certain things and certain blocks. So what truly amazed me about the journey of rapid transformational therapy is not the healing, but it's the amount of time, how short we can get a transformation, how short we can heal and have this long lasting transformation and change in our life. So I really love that we can deep in our subconscious, find that system belief that doesn't allow us to live a fulfilled life, a joyful life, a loving life. Eliminate or extract those limiting beliefs that doesn't allow to live us to live freely, and then re-enter, as you spoke, Melissa, re-enter a new. So the limiting belief, I also identify them as harmful beliefs because they don't serve us. They keep us stuck. They keep us in a place where we don't feel, we're numb. We don't feel like we can move forward. Now, when we extract those limiting beliefs, we reinstall a new pattern of thinking with beneficial beliefs that actually empower us and give us the power of choice and owning our life, and in owning our choices and in owning our confidence. That's why I love so much the path I'm in and the healing I can provide for my clients.
Yes. And I can attest to that. Like, one of the limiting beliefs I had was that I was small and that I couldn't, like, as a child, like, I'm not allowed to make decisions because other people, the adults, were making the decisions, and I needed to stay small, and that I didn't really have decision making over my life. And then so we were able to do that. And now I'm like, I'm big now. Like, I get to do it. Like, I get to make the choices. And that's like one of the things. It's such a tiny little shift. Think like my subconscious was, you're small and you don't get to decide how things are. And now it's like, no, I am big and I'm a grown adult. I can do, what I want to do. And that's been just so wonderful.
Perfect example, which I love that you're here and you can help me with this. The fact is, with Melissa, and not only with Melissa, in general, with subconscious mind, we're not aware of our thoughts. Like, that's the way I am, and that's the way I think of myself, and that's how I remember myself being this way. And when we tap in our subconscious mind, we have this understanding and clarity. Where did we acquire that type of behavior? Where did we acquire those type of thoughts or limiting beliefs? And a lot of times, as Melissa just pointed out, we acquire it from past conditioning from our caregivers, which is our parents. And no parent wakes up in the morning and say, how can I fuck up my kid's life today? That just doesn't happen. Our parents carry their own baggage, their emotional baggage, and then they do the best they can, but they do project certain things. And then we learn this way of thinking, acting, behaving from our parents, and we kind of hold on to it because we think that's who we are. And what is really amazing, that when we tap in our mind is so malleable. It absorbs so many things. And unfortunately, sometimes it absorbs the wrong thing and it keeps repeating itself because that's how the mind learns. And then you say, yeah, I've been like this all my life and that's who I am. And the truth is, when we go deep within, we can separate what we acquired versus who we are. So it's really amazing that you can have, as Melissa said, a small shift. It's just a tiny shift that can be bring such a powerful transformation and such a powerful change, knowing that, hey, this is not who I am. Actually, that was my mother's issue or my father's issue. And I've been carrying these burdens and this baggage that is not mine.
Yeah. So true. And I've seen those things for myself as well. I haven't necessarily done RTT, but other types of therapy and thinking. Once we realize like where it's coming from, we can identify that, we can begin to separate who we are from the things that we've unintentionally, unconsciously carried, from childhood, from family members or people that have been in our life. And that's so important, because then you can identify even in a moment of difficulty and challenge, like, wait a minute, this is a voice, a thought, an opinion, a belief from someone else. That doesn't have to be mine. I don't need to continue in that.
Exactly.
Awesome. All right. So would you just share maybe your top 3 tips for people to be able to implement, for our audience here to be able to implement in their lives in this area of overcoming those previous, mental patterns and behaviors and emotions?
Absolutely. So first, I always tell everyone that healing is available. No matter which method of therapy you choose, or no matter which method of healing you choose what works for you best, obviously. But the truth is, healing is available. We do limit ourselves, as I said, because of our past conditioning. We think we cannot change and we cannot be anybody else but who we are, with our pain, with our trauma, with our blocks, with our limiting beliefs, with our harmful beliefs. The truth is, when we allow ourselves to heal, when we allow ourselves to go out there and find our modality of healing, we can immediately shift and change ourselves in the person who we want to be, and understand that we do have a voice. We don't have to carry these burdens around. Healing is available to me, and I am important.
Yes, I love that.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Alina, for sharing with us today. How can everyone here stay connected with you, and what is your special gift for our VIP guests today?
Can I share a few more modalities of the
Yes,
I wasn't finished. I finished one and then I was waiting. So what's the second one for you to ask? And I didn't realize I just could go on for it.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry. So my other modality of healing and letting is basically bringing awareness to give yourself permission to meet your own needs, and to also embrace a self-positive talk, because we're so good at self-negative talk, to put ourselves down when something doesn't go our way, or when we didn't meet one checklist on the list of the day today. Then we can be very mean to ourselves and we can put ourselves down. So shifting that self-talk into a positive talk. And also, what I mean by meeting our needs: when we were children, we were dependent on our parents to meet our basic needs: food, shelter, clothing. And the truth is, a lot of time, a lot of programming still stays as we are dependent on somebody to meet our needs. And what I share with everyone, that we don't have to wait for someone to meet our need as an adult. If we need something, we'll go and we'll get it. We'll make it happen for ourselves. So we don't have to be in that stagnation that I'm still dependent on somebody to bring love into my life, to bring happiness into my life, to bring healing. You can actually go and do that. And the other really important, which is a major thing for me, is the inner healing, in the inner child healing. As I was saying, we are dependent when we grow up from our parents, and we do get attached to certain limiting beliefs that make us feel small, make us feel not good enough, make us feel unseen, unheard, unloved. And what is really powerful, when we go in that mind of the child and we look at that beautiful baby girl, baby boy, and we see how innocent they are, and we get to heal that trauma that they have, we also embrace and give freedom to the child. And we embrace the child and give our life meaning, to look at life with curiosity through the child's eyes. Because when we grow up, we tend to take everything seriously. Oh my God, I have a meeting, have to be really serious about this. And when we embrace and reconnect with the child, we don't have to be as serious about it. It's just a meeting. It's gonna be okay. No meteorite is gonna fall down on our house as the meeting goes on. And embracing that we can look at life with curiosity, with joy, with love, and also learning, and not be afraid of change, and not be afraid that, oh, change is bad. Change is actually beautiful. And seeing it from a perspective of love and acceptance and freedom and peace just gives you the prosperity to live a fulfilled life in the area that you choose to be.
Yeah, awesome. It's beautiful.
I love those, and it's very real and applicable to everyday life because the
Yeah.
reality is life is not perfect, right? There's going to be challenges, there's going to be bumps along the way. And it's really all about learning how to move through those things in a different way. I think that's what you have shared. So that was 3, right? I think you did.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. I want to make sure I'm counting correctly.
Go on, if you allow me.
Right?
Sometimes my
could
mom
go
brain
on
is
because
crazy.
I love
So,
it so much.
how can people connect with you?
People can connect with me via my website, which is alinapalantian.com. And if you find my name, Alina Palantian, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and I'm making my way slowly in TikTok world, and YouTube is in the working, is in the talking, but that's how you can find me. And you'll find on my website, my email, my phone number, that we can get in touch. And I also provide for everyone a free discovery call, just to see if we can connect over this type of healing, if that's what you're looking for, and also give the freedom for the client or the future client to choose if they want to do that for themselves.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Love that.
All right. And we will be sharing her website in the comments or the chat. So if you'd like to go ahead and copy that, say that you can, or just stay tuned. We'll have some follow-up emails that will provide you all the information as well. And everyone's free gift for you, our awesome VIP guests here. So thank you again. Really appreciate
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Melissa.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, I can't wait to stay connected and see what else you have going on and see your YouTube and all the things.
Absolutely.
All right. So one thing was, as we got started, we were just so excited. We didn't necessarily introduce ourselves. So I thought real quick, we can, if for those of you that maybe don't know us very well, hello. We are Biology of the Soul. We recently kind of collaborated together to bring you holistic health resources and information. So we do have a YouTube channel that we recently started, and I am a holistic health practitioner. I do have my own private practice, and I absolutely love to walk alongside people in their health to help them mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, because I actually have worked in healthcare for about 12 years. And while modern medicine has its place and can be amazing for certain things, unfortunately, a lot of times when they ask you to work with a patient, my area of expertise is therapy. I'm a holistic therapist now. My license is occupational therapy, and then I've added different certifications to provide more tools. But a lot of times in healthcare, I would see someone, they say, okay, just work on their foot. They broke their foot, do exercises and, stretches and things for their foot, right? And so I'm working with these people, right? And these patients, and I'm seeing like, okay, they're not sleeping. They're stressed out. They're dealing with all these emotional things or trauma or loss of a loved one. Their nutrition is crazy. Their blood sugar is off the charts, their blood pressure is crazy, and they're really in a modern medical setting, typically there just isn't the time and the ability to address those things, and a lot of times insurance doesn't want to pay for that, right? So that's what led me to start my own private practice, where I can provide a more holistic approach and customize plans for people to really walk away with tools that will empower them moving forward in their life to stay healthy and well, to heal better, and to maintain that health long-term, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And I partnered with the amazing Melissa here. She is incredible when it comes to mindset. And I am telling you, if you are someone that wants to go from like struggling every day to stay motivated and do the things that you want to do, to accomplishing your goals and literally leveling up your life, you need to talk to her and you need to start using some of her strategies, because it's literally every time I see you speak or hear you speak, I'm like, everyone needs to do this. Okay. So would you share with us a little bit more about you and what you love to do?
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Melissa. I am a mom first. I'm so excited about my daughter. Dee and I, we're actually heading out on a trip together. So I'm like, oh, it's so amazing. But I'm an adoptive mom. And when that first happened, I was under a lot of stress. I was such a young mother. I was only 24 when we met, and she was already 12. And that was when I really learned that, that inner child work, that's when it all became very active for me, and realizing that I had a lot of stuff. I had a lot of stuff in there, and being a mom was meant that all of that was coming up. And I was like, I have to learn something. I have to do something better. I can be a better person than this. I didn't like how I was, responding to my daughter. I didn't like how I was behaving. And that's when I began the process of learning that the way that I was operating was a programmed and conditioned system that my parents instilled in me, and that I can learn something else. And so then began the journey of me learning that. And at the same time that, when I adopted my daughter, I was a public school teacher making very minimal pay, stressed to the max. They even made me switch my jobs in the middle of the year. The kids hated it. It was crazy. And that's when I got my shingles down my back. And I was like, this is not okay. I need to be a better person. I need to do different things. Something has to change. And that's where I really started this journey. And it's been, I tried this type of thing. I read this book. I tried this. And, there's always everyone always has a thing, but and I don't have one specific thing that I do, I use the RTT with Alina, and a bunch of other stuff that I do. And I don't want to focus on one thing. I want to focus on the person. And it's while you go to your RTT and you go to your therapy, you go to your doctor, you go read the book, you go do the thing, who is going to walk alongside me as I begin to implement these strategies and as I begin to do these things in my life, and who's going to be my cheerleader and who's going to be my coach as I walk through this journey. And that's what I would like to be for other people. So I've taken the journey myself of being stressed and overwhelmed, low paying job, struggling with my life, shingles down my back. And now that I have done all of these things that I want to work with people with, I'm running my own successful business. It's making very good money. My life is filled with ease. Every day feels like a vacation. I only work here and there. My YouTube channel is growing exponentially. It's been really amazing. And it's been through using these think of seeing my whole health. I was only just focused on, okay, I have shingles. How do I fix my shingles? And it was, and then I went to the Mayo Clinic because I was like, I'm 29. Why do I have shingles? I don't understand. And I'm so stressed out. And they handed me a meditation CD. And initially I was like, screw this. Come to find out, that's what I needed. That's one of the things that I needed. So I just really want to help people along in their own journeys, just like I took, so that you can go from stress, anxiety, overwhelm to feeling really good every day, to having peace in your heart every day, to, not being swayed by your circumstances. So being the adopted mom of my teen, which she's in her 20s, but she was a teenager, I was constantly swayed based on her mood and what she was going through. And then it would frustrate me or, cause me anxiety. And I learned that I can manage and control my own emotions regardless of what she's doing. So no matter how she functions, how she thinks and she feels, I can still be at peace. And that was one of the biggest things that I've honed and mastered over the last few years. And it's just super exciting. So I wanted to partner with Miriam because while I understand the mental side of it, and how to manage and control your emotions, I'm not that very educated on the actual medical, the nutrition and the hormones and the chemicals and all the ways that those things play together.
All the nerdy things.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. So that's me, Melissa. And you can find me, the best place right now to find me is on my Facebook page, is Melissa Dillon. And I think we'll drop the link there.
Yes, we'll share the link here as well, so you can stay connected. And of course, we'll have all the details summarized for you in our follow-up emails as well. Awesome. Okay. So I think
Allison, because I think your time.
Yes, I was gonna ask Allison if you're able to share with us next. And were you able to connect?
I would love to. Yes, well, it's not quite my bedtime yet, but
Are you on East Coast time?
I am. I'm in.
Okay.
East Coast
Yeah,
time,
I know.
so-
It's time zones are always super interesting.
Hold on, I gotta.
All right. Well, would you share with us a little bit more about who you
Yeah.
are and what you do?
Yeah, I'd love to. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to join you here. This is really exciting. Yeah, I am an herbalist, and I also am an ecologist. I say I'm an herbalist, an ecologist, and sort of a holistic wellness coach. And I have always loved plants. I have a really strong connection with plants, and I have always been drawn to them as a way of healing modalities, and also just being outside and being with nature and those sorts of things. And so for many years, I worked as a research scientist in a university, and I spent all this time picking the environment apart and analyzing everything. And after a while, I came to the realization, this is not how I want to have a relationship with the earth. I want to have a more spiritual, connected type of relationship. And so I left there. I became a teacher for a while, a very low paid school teacher, Melissa, just like you. And I taught through COVID. And so just about a year ago, I decided to leave teaching and just go off and really explore becoming an herbalist on my own. Now, I am not the kind of herbalist where you necessarily come to and you tell me what all your illnesses are and I give you a remedy. Because I love to teach, I teach people how to make their own herbal products, how to go out into the world, how to recognize and identify plants and do it themselves, because I think that self-reliance is really, really important for everyone.
Definitely. Yeah. And so you kind of already explained this, but developing your passion for this area of health, or if you want to expand upon that, like, or, how does your herbal, or, whatever it is that you're doing with your modalities of healing, how does that work for you? Or how do you like to share that with people?
Yeah, well, after I had my second kid, relatively late in life, I started having all of the things going wrong, the thyroid, the this, the that, and feeling just horrible all the time. I was finally diagnosed with Lyme disease, which is what really set me on this very more serious journey for myself of using herbs for healing. And during that time, that was in 2015, when I finally got the diagnosis, although I knew I'd had it I could look back and say, yep, I've had this for 7 years. So that was almost 15 years ago now. And what I came to realize through exploring this through the lens of herbs, because luckily I knew a great herbalist that specialized in Lyme, is that it really wasn't just about the physical aspect of our bodies. We are not made of chemicals. We have so many other aspects to ourselves. And I love that Alina, I'm not sure I said, was speaking about this, because what we believe and what we think has a much greater effect on the chemicals in our body than something that we just are normal everyday interactions. And so it's led me on a path of really getting into the whole spiritual mindset, as well as using the herbs. And one of the reasons why I like using herbs is because most people don't believe that their body can heal. But if they have a tincture or a tea that they're taking, it gives them the confidence that, yeah, I'm using this plant. This plant is working with me. This plant is bringing in this extra sort of energy to help heal me. And then they can believe in themselves. And that's how I like to help people work with plants in that way. As I call them herbal allies. You get your herbal ally. It's like your friend alongside, helping you make sure that you're going to be doing the things you need to do, that you're, and it does have a work on a chemical level as well.
Right.
So.
Right. I love that, because, a lot of times, when I work with patients and clients as well, you can eat amazing, healthy meals and all this stuff, right? But if you're not partnering that with your mindset, your, emotional well-being, mental well-being, your sleep, right? Or vice versa, you use an herb or I've worked with people on, aromatherapy, herbs and supplements and things. You use a whatever, but you're filling yourself with tons of sugar and you're not moving and not exercising and you're stressed and you're not sleeping and all that. It's probably not going to work super great. They're probably not going to see very good results. So it's definitely a partnership. That's so, so important. I love that you do that.
Yeah.
So what would you say are your top 2 or 3 strategies that people can practically start to implement in their everyday life that would help them function better on a daily basis?
Well, what I like to tell people is that, we used to have this greater connection with plants. It's only really been about the last 100 years that our medicine has gotten completely away from this. So I like people to dig back in and find like, well, what was my kind of ancestral knowledge about working with different kinds of plants? And people find out some really cool stuff about their lineage. I recently found this, it was like a inventory from somebody's great grandfather's house, and all of the their medicine cabinet was all herbal remedies, including some weird stuff that I never heard of before that I'm gonna have to investigate. But so just really accepting and realizing this is how your body is supposed to heal. Like, we're supposed to be working with plants. They've been here sort of co-evolving with us. The other thing is that you've got to get a routine that reduces your stress. We have so much background stress in our lives that it is really, really difficult for the body to do what it's supposed to be doing if you're constantly pumping out cortisol and these other chemicals due to a high stress level. And sometimes those stress levels can just be something as simple as, my neighbor's dog is barking all the time and irritating me and bringing this kind of stress level up. And that's because my favorite system to work with people on is actually the nervous system. What we perceive, what our inputs are, what we're bringing in from the outside has such an effect on how we feel, what we think, and ultimately creates sort of a cascade of chemicals inside our bodies that our body now has to manage. Our liver's working overtime and things like that. So, and then the other thing is just to make it super easy. People have different habits, they have different tendencies, they have different like physical constitutions. And so what's going to work for one person is not going to work for the other. Some people love to have a soothing cup of tea every night before bed, and so that's what they should do. Another person wants just like a, just give me a dropper bottle full of stuff. I'll take that twice a day. And I don't want to deal with, brewing things up. But I do like to encourage people to actually not to just take a pill, to actually get involved with the real plants, whether you're collecting it yourself. There's so many great weeds that actually are healing for us. And so I encourage people to look into what is actually growing in your yard, because it might be trying to give you a message about what you need.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah. I did find out with my most recent student who was a total beginner, that not everybody can identify plants. It's something I kind of took for granted, having grown up in like a plant family, So
there's an app for that though, huh?
There is a couple. But you can always just go get your plants from the herb store. You don't have to go out and gather them yourself.
Yeah.
But just getting into the sort of meditative experience of working with plants. And it can be as simple as your culinary herbs, which have incredible healing properties. It's part of the reason why they became part of our regular diet, is because they do have so many of thyme is like an incredible antiseptic properties, and sage is like a great for sore throat and all that kind of stuff. So.
Wow. What would you say is like your favorite plant or herb or something?
Oh,
or maybe
don't make me pick one.
Okay. How about this? Like one of the most shocking, like this plant helps you with.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That.
One of the most important plants that most people could take on a daily basis is actually stinging nettle. And that is because it's a plant that accumulates minerals and nutrients from the soil. And so it's nutrient dense. It's got, magnesium and calcium and things like that in it. It also has this compound called quercetin, which is kind of like an antihistamine sort of a compound. So it's very good for anyone that has any kind of, sort of seasonal allergies or anything like that. So a nettle tea every day would be the greatest place to start.
Nettle, so Nettle, nettle
Yeah.
tea.
Yeah.
Okay.
And most people will be like, stinging nettles, oh my gosh, I hated that when I was a kid. But the truth is that it is a great plant to have around.
Right.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. I'm super excited. Like even just thinking about what weeds are growing in my yard.
Yeah.
What is it trying to tell me? That's so cool. So how can everyone stay connected with you? And do you have a special gift for our VIP guests today?
Yes. Well, I have a YouTube channel and a Facebook, like business page. And in both of those places, I do a weekly show called Flower Power, Weekly Plant Wisdom.
Ooh.
And so I take one plant every week and I talk about its use. And I also use these I like to use oracle cards that go with the plants. So I have a couple of decks that are plant cards. So then I'll talk about like a message for like sort of a mindset message that goes along with the plant. I'm also a flower essence practitioner. So I'm always talking about the flower essence, which is much more like an emotional level. It's more an energetic type of a remedy for people. So those are the two places I am most of the time, YouTube and Facebook. And what I'm doing is just this timing is so great because next week I'm actually doing a 3-day, this is my gift. I mean, I'm doing it. So I hope that people here will join. It's a 3-day, I'm calling it the Herbally Inspired Summer Retreat. And so it's just an online event where I'll be talking about the best herbs to use for kind of the things that we always run into in the summer, like sunburn and bug bites and things like that. So
Plants for sunburn. That's so cool.
oh, heck yeah.
Oh,
Calendula.
yeah.
That's my second favorite plant.
I love plants. I could like literally do a whole seminar just with like us talking about plants. I could talk like all day about plants. It's one of my favorite things, even though that's really funny because when I was doing my undergraduate work, I was super not interested in like plant biology and stuff because I knew I was going into healthcare and I was like, I care about people. I don't really care about plants. But then over the years, I realized how powerful the plants are for people, for us, and how many incredible benefits. So I've grown over the past, 10 years or so, learning a lot more about that and appreciating plants so much. And my husband will say I went from being a black thumb to a semi-green thumb. So, hey, we're progressing.
There you go.
Thank you so much. And what we shared information so you guys can stay connected with her here. I know there was one person who has a question. We want to not, go over our time too much. So Raven, if you think your question would just be a minute, that's awesome. Or we can have her answer your question at the end, if that's okay. That way we can make sure we get everyone interviews and able to share and then answer questions at the end. Okay.
Well, I don't know if Allison is leaving soon, but because you're late. So yeah, Raven,
hear all the other good
about a minute.
speakers.
So that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We'll do one quick question. Otherwise, everyone else, if you can hold your questions and put them in the chat and we'll answer at the end. We'll have a few minutes at the end.
Are you able to unmute yourself, Raven? Okay, perfect. She did.
Thank
Go
you
ahead.
so much, ladies. Very much noted. And thank you all for putting this together. Thank you, Allison, and all the speakers. I love this. So I'll keep it short. I have a quick topical question. I know that raspberry leaf and raspberries in general are helpful with menstrual cramps, but do you have any other plant recommendations for menstrual pain?
Well, that would take it's a short question, but probably a long answer. Raspberry is helpful because it is toning to the uterus and it actually works on like the uterine muscles and helps with that aspect of our sort of feminine parts. And I was noticing the other day, everybody says, female conditions and feminine parts. It's like, let's just say uterus. Okay, people. Anyway, there are other ones. There is actually a plant called cramp bark, which is a type of viburnum, I believe. And so that would be one that I would suggest you look into. Cramp bark.
Wow. It's literally called cramp bark. That's cool.
That is awesome. I love it.
Thank
There's
you,
so many-
Allison.
You're welcome.
That was a good question. And that
Good,
let us know,
good.
like hearing you say, well, raspberry, and then you went into, I was like, she is so knowledgeable. Like you just immediately was like raspberry this, blah, blah, blah. I was like, wow, that's
Yes.
impressive.
So good. So good. Because we could do a whole seminar just on like hormones.
Yeah, I'm
and
ready for the flower power.
balancing, the flower power, the happy hormones and all of that. Goodness, there's so many things. And speaking of which, the nutritionist dietitian that is a part of our summit here, she had something come up. So I have her interview recorded for us. So, and one of her things that she loves to talk about is helping balance cycles and hormones as well with our nutrition and our health habits. So I think I'm going to go ahead
and play that interview for us. And like I said, if you have questions, go ahead and share them in the chat. For just a couple of our experts here, they had something come up, and I have a recorded interview, so I can send your questions, and we'll share their information so you can stay connected as well. So I'm going to pull that up. Give me 1 second here. Should we get that going? Yep. And then technology.
Yep. And then we can unpin Allison, I think.
Yes. You want to do that? See? Boom. Perfect. Okay. All right. We got this.
Just, yep. Click that.
Okay. I think we got it. And this is Jamie. All right. Thanks so much for joining us, Jamie. Really appreciate it. Would you tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. And first of all, just thanks for the invitation to be a part of this. It's just really fun to collaborate with other professionals in the holistic space, and we need more of this. There's always something to learn from each other. So to our watchers, thanks for tuning in. My name is Jamie. I'm a dietitian. I was a dietitian in a former life before children. I worked in weight loss surgery and working to help people make lifestyle changes before and after that major procedure. Well, once babies came along, I needed something a little more flexible, and I also had felt the pull for quite some time to get farther away from conventional healthcare and a little deeper into the holistic side of things. Not only because of some health challenges that my family had gone through, but also something about having children suddenly makes you second guess and question and want to overanalyze everything. Maybe that's anxiety talking, maybe that's just motherhood, I'm not sure. But regardless, it was the perfect time for a transition to more holistic health. So now I am mommy 100% of the time. But in my spare time, I get to work with clients one-on-one on improving their relationship with food. I love helping mamas get rid of some overwhelm around feeding their kids and learning how to do that in a practical way. And I get to do things like this. I love speaking and educating because it's so nice to get helpful information out there in a world of confusion. So it's hard to describe what I do, but that's a sneak peek that I can explain in a moment.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that kind of information and education that you provide is so important. There's not enough of it out. A lot of people think like nutrition. Oh, okay, I need to go on a diet, or a lot of medical professionals will be like, okay, go on a diet or eat more vegetables, and that's just not enough information. People are like, what does that mean? So the type of support that you provide, I think, is amazing, and we need more of it. Recently, I've been doing a lot more seminars and certifications in nutrition just because I find that such a quintessential component in people's recovery, working with different kinds of medical patients and clients. Awesome. So I think you kind of answered this question, but what would you say drives your passion for this area of holistic health particularly?
Absolutely. Well, the foundation is, of course, just wanting to take care of my family, take care of my loved ones. That's really what it boils down to. But I can't deny when I see a spark or a twinkle in somebody's eye, when something clicks, or you see that their identity just shifted a little bit. That is what keeps me going back to the office, going back to one-on-one clients, because when that glimmer of hope is there, it just opens up a world. No longer do I have to try to coax them along. All of a sudden, they have ideas, they know their next right step, and I just get to sit back and watch that unfold and provide little guidelines here and there. So that is definitely the joy of my job.
I love that. I love that component of empowering people to feel like they have the tools in their tool belt to do what they need to do for their own health, and knowing, and even I see it even in my kids too. They'll be like, hey, my tummy doesn't feel so good. I think I need X, Y, or Z, something that they know that we've done to help support them with their digestion or whatever it is. Know that they feel better, and then next time they'll go and they'll reach for the the vitamin or the whatever it is, right? Same thing for all of us once we know what to do.
Good. All right. So what would you say are your top 3 practical strategies for people in the area of nutrition and their health? And I think there's also that mental emotional component too. Would you
Oh,
for a little bit on that?
Absolutely. So, of course, it's hard to narrow the world of nutrition down to a couple direct points. But I would like to speak for a moment just about that identity piece, that we act in alignment with who we believe ourselves to be. And that is tied to our nutrition. If we believe ourselves to be somebody that is tired all the time, we will continue to act tired and feel tired. If we believe ourselves to be somebody that doesn't like vegetables and doesn't like trying new things, we will be resistant to trying new vegetables in new ways. So if I could give people one like word of wisdom or one like starting point, it would be, what if you knew what to do? What if you could picture in your head a slightly healthier version of you? Not picture perfect. I mean, we're talking a relationship with food, and no relationship doesn't have challenges or doesn't need compromise. But picture in your head your relationship with food just a little bit better. And what behaviors would that require of you? That right there is your starting point. And then every time you act on one of those behaviors, you are putting a deposit in the bank that you are a person that does healthy things. And then when you have that mentality of I'm adding in helpful things, that's so much more empowering than don't eat this, don't eat that, don't have too much chocolate, don't do, too much cardio. So many diets of today only add to the confusion, and PS, confusion sells. But because it's stop this, take this away, and it's this scarcity mindset. Whereas successful people have an abundant mindset of what can I add in? What can I try new? How can I think about this differently? And that keys into the part of your brain that actually has creative ideas and actually has motivation that you just have subconsciously been shutting off by saying, I don't feel like it, or I don't understand, or that doesn't make sense. So that would be my word of wisdom is work on that picture in your head and start making deposits to who that is. And the beautiful thing about a deposit is some days you make 1 deposit, some days you make 18 deposits, but you are still making steps in the right direction versus I'm on the diet, I'm off the diet, I fell off track, I fell off the bandwagon, I'll start over on Monday. That doesn't work for anything, okay? It's deposits, it's slow and steady steps, it's one thing at a time towards that identity of what you are working on.
So good. And it reminds me of when a baby's learning to walk, right? They take a step and they fall down, right? Because they're learning something new, right? We're developing new neural pathways for that habit, that pattern in our life, whatever it is. And nutrition is one of them. And baby falls down. They don't just give up. Say, "Oh, I'm never gonna walk again." I mean, that's pretty rare. I think I've heard of one baby that did that in 6 months or something, and then they tried it again. But for most, people, you get up and you try again, and then you learn from that. You're like, oh, well, that didn't work very well. No, let's try this. And a lot of times when I talk with people about habits and things like that, we're going to make a mistake. That's human. That's what we do, but that's how we learn, and that's we use that as a stepping stone to move forward. It's not ever having junk food, not ever having whatever, right? It's what do you do after? How do you help your body after? Do you drink lots of water? Do you follow it with your good nutrients and enzymes or probiotics or whatever that is? Yeah,
absolutely. So much healthier mentality right there.
Right. And I mean, it's human. We're going to have those times, or special occasions, birthdays, those kinds of things. And I think it's not good to go into those kinds of things stressed. Like, oh my gosh, I can't eat anything. Enjoy a special occasion or whatever, within reason. And then say, oh, tomorrow I'm going to do the more things to help my body tomorrow or tonight, and that kind of thing.
And speaking of that stress, that actually impacts how you digest and how you absorb food. Because if you are in an anxious state of being, your body takes that as I am in danger, I am not safe, I need to prepare to fight or flight. And your body actually routes blood flow away from your digestive organs to your arms and your legs so that you could run away or fight something, not realizing that what you're anxious about isn't a bear, it's a burrito. Okay. So, people say, well, how can I like not be anxious at my mealtime? Well, just knowing that if you ate something and you were anxious and you had a little bit of a queasy stomach afterwards, it may not have been that you can't eat that food. It may have been that you were just in this anxious state and therefore your body wasn't producing the enzymes and didn't have the blood flow to properly assimilate those nutrients. Try that food again in a more calm state. And one of my favorite little hacks just for calming your body down is actually a moment of gratitude at the beginning of meals. I mean, lots of families have a tradition of having a prayer before a meal. And scientifically speaking, that moment of gratitude and breathing and appreciation for the meal in front of you, you cannot be anxious and grateful in the same moment. It's physically impossible to feel those two things at the same time. So a moment of appreciation, a deep breath, whatever that food may be. I don't care if it's jelly beans or kale, whatever that food may be. An imperfect meal eaten with gratitude is better for you than a perfect meal in a state of anxiety. So there's a whole lot of room for grace there and a whole lot of room for you to just calm and impact that digestion every single day, every single time you eat.
That's so good. I love that. And I was recently reading about, they've done, lots of studies on mindset and gratitude and everything, that even just thinking about the word gratitude instantly increases your dopamine and serotonin, your happy.
Fascinating.
And those obviously domino into less inflammation, better digestion, your rest and digest mode, your ability to focus, your ability to have better mood, all of those things, right? Versus like what you said, if you're in a anxious, your brain thinks you're, have a bear chasing you, you're going to have cortisol pumping, adrenaline, epinephrine, all of that.
All of them, yeah.
Actually tell the body to store fat because we're surviving and we might die. Store fat cells. So when we're eating our food in that mode, it's terrible, which I'm working on that myself because sometimes I'm in a go, like busy schedule and I'm like starving down a lunch, like in between, clients and stuff. And I need to work on like,
been there.
A little moment of gratitude, literally 30 seconds, take a deep breath in, and then, even a few seconds. That's so good. Thank you. All right. Any other tips you think would really be practical for people to implement when they're trying to, absorb their nutrients better and, maybe lose weight or whatever their goals might be with their nutrition?
I would just say everything that comes along with that, slowing down, like chewing well. Digestion begins in our mouth, so we often underestimate the impact of actually chewing well. Not drinking a lot of beverages with meals. This is a less common tip, but when we drink a lot, even if it's water or tea or something nourishing, when we drink a lot at meal times, that dilutes the digestive enzymes that your stomach is secreting. So drink those wholesome things between meals, but don't be drinking a ton while you eat. So chewing well, not drinking with meals, breathing, that moment of gratitude before your meal, that goes a long way. And then just focusing on the add-in mentality. Despite all the confusion and chaos in the world of diet and diet culture, most of us still know something we could start with. And that accountability is more vulnerable. It's more vulnerable because if you say, oh, I tried keto and keto didn't work, you're blaming keto instead of blaming yourself. There is an element of vulnerability of getting real with yourself and saying, okay, well, where could I start? What could I do first? What could I do this afternoon? That takes vulnerability, that takes courage, but that is going to be sustainable for the long haul. And you're going to get the results you're looking for because you're going about it the right way.
Yes, I love that. It's so key, so important. If you're taking notes, write that down because, a lot of people feel like, well, I need to do this diet or that diet or keto or fill in the blank, whatever it is, paleo, right? In order to achieve my goals or lose weight or feel better or, whatever that might be. And while those diets might be effective for a while, a lot of times it doesn't set you up for long-term success because you
who are just in a completely deprived state for that time. Or, unfortunately with keto, sometimes it's like you're just pounding your body full of meat all the time, which is actually really hard on your kidneys and your liver and stuff. And like, please don't do that. Yeah. But please don't do it like that. Anyways, so, it's better to just literally be intentional about one area at a time. Like, hey, I know I need to work on this certain area. I'm going to drink more water. I'm going to focus on like the tips that you said, like not drinking a lot with meals. That's such a good tip I haven't heard before. I love that. And it makes so much sense. Enzymes are so important for our body to absorb nutrients and everything, and we don't even realize. And I've also seen where like drinking alcohol with a meal is a concern. It can cause inflammation, lack of absorption of nutrients, so on and so forth. So just one thing, like a day or one thing a week, one little change here and there is so much more effective over the long term, because you're going to build new habits that you can hold on to for long term and live healthier going forward.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you. Really appreciate your time today. Is there anything else you wanted to share today?
We could dive into all kinds of things, but out of respect for people's time who are watching this, I think that's a good overview, as well as some practical steps. Start with that. Do the hard things, do the boring things, do the mundane things. They truly are the things that make the difference in the long haul.
The little things, the little habits, right? Well, thank you for your time. Would you share with us how everyone can stay connected with you, and if you have any special offers or services available?
Yeah, absolutely. So the best place to follow along with what I'm up to is over at Instagram. I'm at Dietitian Jamie. That's DIETITIAN, no C in there. At Dietitian Jamie, I also have a free PDF about feeding our kids and helping our kids have a healthy relationship with food. So if you are a mom or a daycare provider or involved with kids in any way, just go to www.dietitianjamie.com and enter your email address there to get that PDF sent off your way. Other than that, I'll be opening spots for one-on-one coaching. I'm starting a podcast within the next year. There's just a lot down the pipeline, but 3 children right now means everything is on a variable timeline. So if you follow me on the gram and get on my email list, you will know what I'm doing when those things come to fruition.
Awesome. Thank you. And we'll definitely share your link here in the chat for everyone, and be sending it out. Be on the lookout for the emails we'll be sending you guys, so you can have access to all of that. Thank you. Take care.
Thanks again. Have a good night.
All right.
That was awesome.
I thought that was so good. So many great, practical tips that we can implement. So nutrition is, obviously another important element of our health. And I love that we're kind of getting great components from different areas of our life, mentally, emotionally, physically, our nutrition, and using plants and herbs in our life as well. The next person I want to have share is Anne Marie. She's an amazing expert in clean living. And one of the reasons that I am so excited to have her share today is because this component of before we add in all the amazing things into our life to be healthy and well, and working on our mindset is a piece of it as well. We also need to address the things that we might not be aware of that are affecting our function, our hormones, our neurotransmitters in our brain, our endocrine system, our sleep, our skin, our gut health, our ability to absorb nutrients. And these things are little tiny chemicals that can be hidden in everyday stuff like our food, our beauty products, our cleaning products, our hygiene, our shampoos and things. Oh my goodness. When I started having little babies, I was shocked at how much harmful, toxic, synthetic things are in products marketed for children. And just go do your own research, you'll find it. But I'm sure Anne will share with us some really helpful information on how to know what to watch out for and everything. So welcome, Anne. Let me pull you up here.
It is actually Anne Marie, so you got it right the first time. Yep.
Okay. I apologize.
No worries.
See here. There we are. All right. So just tell us a little bit more about what you do and who you are.
Absolutely. Nice to meet everyone. I'm Anne Marie Friedman. Very excited to be alongside such empowered women. This is great. So I have a long background and experience with, health and modern medicine and not modern medicine and trying to really find my way. Similar story to Allison. I also have chronic Lyme that was misdiagnosed for many years. And once I got that diagnosis and really started kind of shifting things around, lots of puzzle pieces started fitting together and things started understanding. And through that progression and learning, I discovered the toxicity of so many products in our home. The products that we put on our skin, in our hair, our cleaning products, so many different things that we touch day to day, even what we drink in our water. And so I started researching every little thing and really uncovering kind of the science behind why certain things are put into products, why things are the way they are, and the healthier and cleaner options that are out there. And so I have an Instagram that I started, I have a website, and I love to share this knowledge. I don't do it full time. I'm hoping to eventually get there. This is my side gig. And so I love to share the knowledge that I've built up over the years with people that will lend an ear.
Yeah, awesome. And you kind of already, answered this, but like, what makes you so passionate about, this realm and, knowing what it can do for other people?
So my transition kind of happened from the very beginning. I always joke and say that my mom was organic before organic was a thing. And it's funny because some of my biggest arguments with her when I was growing up were about how I just wanted to be a normal family and why couldn't we be a normal family and go to McDonald's and get dinner. And it's so funny how things come full circle. Because now I'm like, I totally get it. Like, thank you. I appreciate that. But for me, I've always had a knowledge of products and what we put into our bodies, whether it be food or anything along those lines. And when I got diagnosed with Lyme, that compounded a lot because I realized, okay, I need to really make some shifts. I made some significant dietary shifts that I was always what I would consider very healthy, but I needed to shift it even more and ramp it up. And I noticed so many different things that were kind of fixing themselves that I wasn't intending to even fix, right? I used to have bad eczema and all of a sudden I have no more eczema. Like, where did that go? I used to have seasonal allergies. Those are gone. And so all of these different areas of my life started to become supported in a way that I wasn't aware was going to happen.
Wow.
So then fast forward a couple of years and I get pregnant and it just, the research overwhelm came in waves. And I really, really wanted to make sure that my child that I was bringing into this world was brought into this world in the most kind of natural and organic way possible, and to support them not only in their products, but in their upbringing and in their diet and nutrition. And so I really have a strong focus on, healthy families and ensuring that the products that you bring into your home are clean and they're going to help support you, not take something away.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Watching my sister, I remember her first pregnancy, it was normal for her to get like, Burger King or something like that. But then when she started feeding her baby, she's like, wait a minute, I don't want this stuff for my baby. And then now on her third baby, she's all organic, everything, like all the things. And yeah, I definitely can relate to that. Like seeing like being a mom, it like really, sets you into just like, what am I feeding my children? What am I giving them? And like you said, like the research can be a little overwhelming. So it's cool knowing that you're like an expert in that area to be able to help people without having to have that research overwhelm.
Yeah, and that's definitely my goal, is to kind of be that guide and be the person who's doing the hours upon hours of research to just give you the small output that is the most beneficial part of that. Because I enjoy the journey.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yes. Yeah. And the reality is, like, not everyone's, I relate to you a lot. I love to do research and read about all the things. I don't always have the time, but not everyone likes that or enjoys that or even has any desire to know what
Or how to
ingredients are
do
in
it.
things, or how do I even, where do I begin, right? So having someone like you to walk alongside that and guide during that process is so, so important. I think you can absolutely do this like full time.
Yeah, no, I can see
people.
like a class for moms, like even just like how, like what, like very set things, like go to the store and get this and get this, you know, avoid these things, like instead of like, cause as a mom, like it's so overwhelming, all the things, the school, the shoes, the clothes, like the feed, the lunches, and get all this stuff done and the appointments and all that stuff. And so then you meal planning and you're grocery shopping and you're buying, you know, what ingredients are, what cleaners are you buying? And to have like a streamlined process, I think that would be fantastic for moms. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think she has some of that information on her website as well. So we'll share that here shortly. So would you, along those lines, would you kind of give a few practical tips that would help people get started with that process, where to begin, your top couple strategies that you think would be helpful?
So my first is to just be aware. Yeah, I know we've heard that a couple of times, and it's just being aware of so many different aspects in your life. And practical ways to be aware in this is to just start reading labels. So if you're shopping in the physical store, turning a product over and reading the labels and seeing, you know, if it's stuff you recognize is a great first step. A lot of things that you don't recognize doesn't mean it's harmful, right? But just starting to build in the practice of reading what it is you're about to purchase. What's in this? Same thing for anything on Amazon. Most of the time, Amazon's a crapshoot, but most of the time there's ingredients or materials listed. You know, if you're buying paper towels, there's materials listed. If you're buying, you know, something that goes on your face, the face wash, materials and ingredients are listed. Food ingredients, unless it's a whole food, right? If it's a whole food, hopefully it doesn't have an ingredient label. But if you are buying something with ingredients listed, then just take a look and take a gander. So being aware is my first. The second would be to really identify your priorities. So a lot of times, people feel really overwhelmed, especially when their eyes are open to this whole world of, you know, clean living and having to switch products and thinking that, oh my gosh, I've already done so much damage. Like, know better, do better. You are where you are right now based on what you knew at the time. You did the best with the information you had. Now you have different information, so you can make different choices. And with that, start to figure out what's important. So some people might say, my sleeping surface is the most important thing to me. So that may be a top priority. Maybe it's the food you eat or the personal care products you're using. Figure out what it is that you find most important and start trying to make shifts in that area. It's not an all or nothing right at the beginning. That's just not sustainable. Another thing that I focus on a lot with my clients and what I talk to about on Instagram is just sustainability. That's a huge aspect and something that I'm very, very passionate about as well. So my third tip is, when you're switching things out, only switch them when you need them. So use through the products, even if it's like something where you're like, oh my gosh, this was not a good decision. I still most of the time recommend going through it and finishing up and making a list of, oh, here's what I want to switch it to. One of the practical things that I tell people all the time is have like a spreadsheet of different products that you typically use and suggestions of products that you'd like to try out. And so when you run out of something like toilet paper, you can say, oh, I actually already heard of great toilet paper that's not bleached or that doesn't have different chemical processing. And that way, when you're running low, you could just go to your little spreadsheet and say, oh, this is what I want to purchase. And it helps with that stress and anxiety of making all of those changes as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's kind
so
of what
important.
we ended up doing, you know. I definitely relate with like having the health issues. I have autoimmune condition, I have asthma, allergies, gut health, celiacs, things going on. So for me, it's been a long journey of health and learning all these things along the way. And then, like you said, having children makes you think about things so much differently. You start being so much more aware. And that's what we did. Instead of throwing everything out, starting all over, you know, when I started learning about this, we just decided like when one item would run out, that we knew was kind of not the healthiest version of that item, whatever it was, laundry detergent or whatever, then we would just decide to fill that space next time we got that item with a healthier, better, cleaner option. So that's a perfect way to kind of little by little by little.
Yeah,
start
that's
the
awesome.
process.
That definitely like, because I know a lot of people who want to make these changes, it might feel like, oh my God, I need all this money to rebuy all my stuff. So knowing that, you know, it's totally acceptable to, you know, finish using the thing and then just make a different choice next time. I think that's freaking fantastic.
And you're spending money anyways if you're purchasing a new product, you know. So if you're going to spend the money, you might as well make a shift and put it towards something that you're going to feel more comfortable in your home.
Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of times it's not that much more expensive. Thankfully, nowadays they're coming out with more and more options that are cleaner and healthier, and they're maybe $1 or $2 more. It's usually not a huge difference. So,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Tell us how everyone can stay connected with you and what your gift is for our VIP guest today.
Absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram. My handle is Crunchy and Curious. I am most active on there. I have a Facebook page, not really so much active on there, but growing that slowly but surely. I have a website, www.crunchyandcurious.com. Tons of great resources on there. I have something called the Crunchy List, which is a list, an ongoing list that I'm constantly updating of products that I recommend for different areas. And then my gift to the VIPs here today, one of the things that I love to do is one-on-one consults. I have a couple of different tiers of that. And so typically my 30-minute consult where you could ask any question, we can, you know, come up with a plan for you. We can recommend specific products for what it is that you're going through. I can help you draft up a non-toxic baby registry, whatever it is that you may want. I am offering those for 25% off to the VIPs here.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
Really
Wow, that's
excited.
awesome.
That's really good.
That's
Okay,
so cool.
So bonus question. Sorry, pop quiz here. No, I'm just kidding. When people are starting to read ingredients at the store, I am curious if you have a preferred or top recommended app that people can use to know what those ingredients are, because the reality is there's a lot of ingredients that they'll say what is natural flavoring, and natural flavoring can be code for many different synthetic, artificial.
Yeah, it's an umbrella term.
Whatever, or the word fragrance can include hundreds of different, those kind of things. So how do you prefer different apps? I've heard of like, EWG app, and do you have one that you think is the best that you've seen?
It's hard because I think everybody has different ideas of what is toxic or not toxic. The one that I tend to reach for the most, if I just need something really quick, is an app called Clearya. So it's Clearya. And that one is great. It doesn't work everywhere. And it pulls items, I think it's from Amazon, which is great because so many things are on Amazon. Sephora, iHerb, Target, and maybe one other. So they're slowly but surely building that one out. And that one's great. It has pretty strict standards. I tend to align pretty close with what they're pulling. Some of the others are back and forth. I may agree with something, I may not. So if I could only use one app and they have a desktop version too, it would be that one.
Okay, awesome. Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
I love it. I know there's like so many of them out there and it's hard to know which one is really good, but really if you start anywhere, something is better than nothing, right? Just
Yeah.
identifying what ingredients are in there and if there's some, highly concerning ones, the carcinogens and those types of things, just knowing that and knowing, okay, maybe not that one, this one's a little bit better.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate your time today.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's see. We have a couple more to share and then we will wrap up. Let's see. And if you do have questions, you can share those in the chat. We will have a few minutes at the end for some questions. Miranda, would you mind sharing with us next?
Of course I can. Hi.
Wonderful.
You want me to introduce myself and talk about who I am first?
Yes. Hang on one second. Let me get this to
Sure.
cooperate. Zoom is giving me an issue.
Where'd you go?
You just here.
There
There,
she
we
is.
are. It moved your square and I couldn't find you for a second. Okay.
I'll
Got
be
it.
causing an energetic glitch.
Yeah,
Nice.
here we go. All right. Yes, tell us a little bit more about who you
Fantastic.
are and what you love to do.
Awesome. So I'm Miranda Tate. I'm an infinite potential expert and self-healing expert. I have a long background in the realms of infinite potential and self-healing. So that's a huge part of my work. I also do soul-led business and legacy mentorship. So help people use their unique magic and their skills and their life experience to create a way that they can make an impact and income in the world. So that's another part, but I'm here to talk today especially about the self-healing and infinite potential work I do, and specifically a method called emotional alchemy, which is releasing trapped emotions from the body. So this is a new method that has recently come into my world, and it's just been like the perfect complement to all of the other work that I do, especially in self-healing and infinite potential, because it allows us to work with the subconscious to bring up any emotional or energetic or mindset or physical limitations that are holding people back from their highest quality of life. So yeah, typically this emotional alchemy work, you may have heard of something called Emotion Code. There's a book that was written about it. I believe Dr. I don't remember his name at this point. I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. Dr. Bradley Nelson is the name of the guy who wrote the Emotion Code book. So yeah, I learned about this emotion code work and I've started practicing it. And then I ended up channeling a deeper method where we not only dive into emotions, but we can dive past just the emotions that we're storing in the body into, like I said, energetic patterns. We can tap into ancestral patterns. We can look at the causes of pain or inflammation or excess weight in the body. We can dive into limited beliefs. We can dive into thought paradigms, all of the things. So it's really interesting because what we do is we communicate with the individual's subconscious body and emotional body so that we can get the information to figure out what the exact relevant limitations are that are ready to be moved or released through the system so that that person can step forward into the freedom and the fulfillment and have that space and capacity within them to welcome in more of the results and experiences that they desire.
Wow.
So it's like super, super powerful. And like I said, it's been so incredible to share this lately.
Yeah, and that's like super cool. You're definitely hitting a way more of like the spiritual side, which I love so much, like really tapping into, what's going on in your body, the subconscious that you're not, fully aware of. I think that's so amazing. How did you develop your passion for this area?
So my whole big life transformation journey started when I was like 18 years old. I almost lost my life to a health condition that the doctors could not figure out. I was the healthiest unhealthy person they'd ever seen. And I was a personal trainer at the time. So I had experience with taking care of my physical body and like living a healthy lifestyle for the most part and things like this. So they were dumbfounded because they couldn't find a medical reason or cause or explanation for what was going on in my body. And over the years, after I ended up healing from it with medical support and everything, I started learning about holistic wellness. So taking the mind into account, taking the metaphysical side of life and our spiritual selves into account. And it just made sense to me that the cause of what had happened to me previously was deeper than just something physical. So I began exploring that and looking at health and wellness and longevity and everything from a more holistic perspective. So yeah, I started with like energy work and energy healing and stuff like this. And I've come across so many different modalities and practices and methods over the years. And this is the one. It's like, you know, you feel like you have experience in so many different areas and you know so many different things, and all of them are great and they all serve their purpose, but you're just waiting for like that one thing that you are looking for to shift everything. I'm like, this is it. This is the thing that everybody needs to know. This is the tool. The simplicity of it is mind blowing. Anybody can practice this. Children, adolescents, adults, elderly. It's so simple to learn. Anybody can do it. So you don't need a practitioner to do this work for you. It's literally so simple. You can learn how to do it for yourself. So I'm like, okay, we got to share this. Everybody needs to know. Let's go.
Yes. And, you know, being someone that has worked in healthcare, I can tell you, I have seen so many examples of people that their health is directly connected to their emotional, spiritual well-being. And many times when you see people who've been able to like heal themselves from cancer and things, not that everyone necessarily can, but there's an underlying emotional, spiritual thing going on, some sort of trauma, some sort of deep, you know, sadness, or some sort of element that's going on that you can't really see, that's not necessarily tangible, but it has a powerful and profound effect on their health. And you'll also see it play out in the way people recover as well. So for example, I'll have, you know, a 90-year-old woman that had 20 fractures from a car accident. And she's walking up and down the hall with her walker slowly, you know, a little unstable, but she's doing it because she is like, I am going to get better. I'm going to do this. Right. And she doesn't have those emotional, spiritual blockages the way that there's a 45-year-old down the hall that has one knee replacement surgery, and he is acting like he is dying. Doesn't matter. Gender does not matter. She is acting like she is dying, right? And it's a knee replacement. And I'm like, what is going on here? You know, and her recovery is weeks and weeks longer than this 90-year-old woman with multiple complicated fractures. Okay.
Mhm.
And the element that we're sometimes missing or maybe not seeing is that spiritual, emotional blockage that can be going on that we just, you know, can struggle to overcome that. And many people don't even know it's there, which is where you come in. And I think this is so powerful what you have to offer. I think like almost everyone needs to work on this in some capacity. We all have something that is kind of blocking us in certain areas emotionally and spiritually. So would you share with us just a couple of your top strategies that you think people can start to implement, little small things, 2 or 3 of your top recommended things?
Yeah, totally. I had a few things in mind, but there's something different coming through right now. So I'm going to go with that. The first thing is to pay attention, right? Like pay attention to what is happening in your life and in your body. Typically, when we become aware that there's something that we want to change, we become aware of the result that we're experiencing, right? Or the symptom of the thing, right? So once we're aware that there's something going on that isn't what we desire it to be, then we can start to like look for some kind of solution. But that self-awareness portion is so important. And there's a lot of areas of life where we're just functioning on that autopilot, right? Which is controlled by subconscious, right? What is it? They say 95% of what we do on a day-to-day basis is literally unconscious, right? So that's paradigms, belief systems, patterns, coding, all of these things, right? So if we're not even paying attention because we're distracted or throwing up a blindfold to all the things, it's going to be pretty difficult for us to navigate our way toward where we actually desire to go. So first thing is like, just pay attention to what feels good within you, pay attention to what doesn't feel good within you. The methods that we use within this emotional alchemy work, and like I said, the sister method that goes even deeper into the subconscious as a whole beyond just the emotions, is we use different methods that help you divinate or understand the communication with the subconscious. And these can help you, these tools, these methods for this communication can also help you in tapping into like your inner yes, your inner no, what feels good for you, what doesn't feel good for you, what is aligned, what is not aligned, all of these things. And that's like the first and foremost thing that I recommend for most people is get to know yourself.
Yeah, we've heard the word awareness so much. So like this is what this,
I know.
this health summit is all about, the awareness.
Write that down. If you're taking notes, write down
Awareness.
awareness.
Yes, I love it so much.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I love this conversation, and I even want to just keep talking and listening about this myself. I was when I was 15, I was sent to a boarding school, a religious boarding school that ended up actually being very abusive in a lot of ways. And it took my voice from me. I wasn't allowed to speak up and I wasn't allowed to say anything. And lo and behold, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. Like that stress and that abuse that I was experiencing manifested itself physically in my body, in my throat. And, that was very much a way of trying to, take away my voice in so many, because I felt like they had. And it was 2 years ago or a year ago now that I actually went in front of because it happened in Montana. I went in front of the Montana Senate and told them about what I had happened and experienced. And I felt my throat releasing, just like, oh my gosh, I'm letting all this out, and like saying what you've done to me and what you're doing to, the children who go there and stuff. And it was very interesting. And I just love that so much, because that's like basically what you're talking about and stuff. And like going through those things, that trapped emotions and the things that are stuck in your body and the things that are, impacting your daily life that you don't even realize.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
And yeah, there's so many great books and stuff out there too. First one comes to mind is The Body Keeps Score. There's other ones as well, but our body holds on to that trauma, those emotions, that stress in many different ways. And I think it's really important, and this is what you do, is helping to find ways to release that in a healthy way is really, really important. And we don't even realize we're holding on to it. I mean, how many times at the end of like a long, crazy day, all of a sudden you're like, oh, my neck hurts, and that's what it is. And I do massage therapy. So I physically help people release. I'm much more in, kind of the movement realm, and on a cellular level, on a biological level, movement and stretching and all of that to get it out. But there's so many great ways we can get it out. And I love what you do, Miranda. That's amazing.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing with us. How can everyone stay connected with you, and what gift do you have for our VIP guests today?
Yeah, so I'm in like all of the places. I think the only place I'm not in is like Twitter. So I'm Instagram, Facebook, recently new on TikTok. It's so much fun over there. I do have a website, all the things, but I'm most active on Facebook and Instagram. Those are my like fun hubs if you want to come play. And I'm inviting you all to come and learn this emotional alchemy method with me. So you can come and learn all about how emotions get stored and trapped in your body. They can come from all sorts of places. We can carry them from past lives, ancestrally. I released an emotion with a client that was like over 3,000 generations prior. So that had been carried in her bloodline for so long, right? So these patterns go beyond what is logical. Like what we can hold in our body goes beyond what makes logical sense.
Yeah.
So,
that's a whole other like seminar, right? On epigenetics. Go research epigenetics if you haven't heard of that. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think of humans, we're like a crochet, like we're just a human crochet, like we're coming from, we're copies of our parents into a new thing, but we're carrying all the history, all the data that our parents had, and they're carrying all the history and all the data that their parents had. And now, it's up to us to deal with these things that may pop up and these things that may happen, and knowing a technique where you can easily shift it. That's incredible.
Totally. Yeah, this can help you like identify what you're holding on to subconsciously, what's there, what's affecting your results, what's affecting your experiences. And then you're going to learn how to clear it as well. So I have a free experience called Emotional Alchemy where you're all invited to come play. You can come learn how to do the releasing trapped emotions. And then I'm also offering my subconscious alchemy sessions. So those are one-on-one sessions or integration packages or multiple sessions that you can do with me if you want to dive in with a healer, with a facilitator. It's all preference for some people. You know, some people want to learn how to do this themselves and equip themselves and go and empower and heal themselves. Other people are like, well, can you just like hold me through it? So, so yeah, we have something for everyone. But yeah, that is what I'm offering. So if y'all
Awesome.
feel
Thank
called,
you so
I'd love
much.
to have you.
Love
Awesome.
it.
You're so welcome.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right. So we have one more, I believe. We make sure I'm not mommy brain missing somebody here. Make sure I got everyone. One more lady who we have a recorded interview. This is Lindsay, who's a PhD in biochemistry, and I'll have her, you'll hear her information and amazing health resources as well. Let me pull that up. Share that. All right, and then this will be our last full interview. I have one music therapist who couldn't join us due to a family emergency, so I'll just share and touch on music therapy a little bit. We will give you her information, her website and everything. Music therapy is phenomenal. So this is our last full interview. And so if you have questions, please feel free to share in the comments. And like we said in the beginning, we would love to know what area of holistic health and healing you want to know more about. So please share that in the chat here so we know what services and support we can provide for you to best serve you in what your needs are. Okay, we're going to go ahead.
All right. Hello, Lindsay. Thank you so much for joining us. Really super excited to be here. Thank you. Yes, so we are so excited to learn more about holistic health and healing. And I think the audience is really looking forward to hearing from you in your area of expertise. Would you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, my name is Dr. Lindsay Elmore. I am a pharmacist who broke up with the pharmaceutical industry about 8-9 years ago, and I have a degree in chemistry, doctorate in pharmacy, and I have traveled the world teaching people about how to heal their body naturally. And it all started because of my own health challenges. I tore my ACL, had really bad insomnia because of the stress of being in pharmacy school, and you know, that led me to the chiropractor's office, which led me to the acupuncturist's office, which led me to the integrative medicine event that I went to. And I just started to realize there is a whole other way of looking at health other than the typical Western model.
Yes, I can absolutely relate to that. Going through my medical degree, as when I started getting gray hairs and like the no sleep and all the things, it has such a huge impact physically, mentally, emotionally, all of that. And you know, traditional medicine is like, okay, here's some medication, or then you realize over time this isn't really addressing the underlying reason why we're having these and concerns. So, what in particular helped you develop a passion for your area of expertise, would you say?
I mean, it's just a natural evolution. You know, I started out by knowing a lot about herbs. I then transitioned into understanding how did drugs impact our nutrient status and how did medications deplete nutrients. And then I started to realize that medications also were directly toxic to the microbiome and caused a lot of dysbiosis, and really started digging more into when you alter the microbiome, you alter the function of every single body system. And so I really wanted to learn more about how does all of this work together? How does this all function together? And ultimately, the body's function in a lot of ways has to do with the bacteria that live on us and in us. And it's not just bacteria, it's bacteria, it's virus, because we think about the microbiome, but the microbiome also includes the virome. And we also think about yeast, fungi, which can have some benefits for us sometimes. And we also have parasites living on us and in us. And our microbiome is made of both non-pathogenic and pathogenic bacteria. It's made of anti-inflammatory and pro-inflammatory bacteria. And we have the ability to shift the overall function of our body if we focus on building and enriching our microbiome.
Yes, that's so true. And I think we really underestimate it. Most people, when they learn about how much the gut is connected to like our serotonin, right, production, our melatonin production. I just recently went to a seminar on nutrition for ADHD and how much children who struggle to sleep, it is connected to their gut. A huge part of it is, and their ability to produce melatonin is even connected to that. So important. So what would you say would be your top 3 helpful strategies, practical tools that people can start implementing in their life to address these underlying dysbiosis concerns that impact function?
Yeah, so I'm going to cheat a little bit and I'm going to give you 5, because in functional medicine, it's called the 5R protocol, is how we go about healing the gut. So the first thing is you have to remove the gut triggers. Like if you are still eating pro-inflammatory foods, you're never going to heal your gut. And so if you've never done an elimination diet, this is your sign. It's time to do an elimination diet where we eliminate things like gluten and dairy and alcohol and sugar, and caffeine even can be part of what is irritating the gut. And some people are very sensitive to lectin. Some people are sensitive to oxalate. Some people are sensitive to really low quality oils and low quality meats. And so we really work on how do we remove the gut triggers. And then the next thing is you have to repopulate your gut. And you have to repopulate your gut with both high quality probiotics. I am a huge advocate of using strain specific probiotics because the strain specificity allows you to know that they are doing a particular thing, a particular action. And then we also need prebiotics, which are indigestible fibers that help to feed our probiotics, right? And so there's that piece of the equation as well. So we have to repopulate. Then we have to repair the lining of the gut, because if the lining of the gut has become loose over time, we have to seal that back up. And we do that with supplements like omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D. We supplement with L-glutamine, which is the primary food source for the enterocytes. The lining of the gut is made up of cells called enterocytes. And so we have to repair the lining of the gut. Some people find it effective to use things like slippery elm bark or aloe to help stimulate the bowels. So if you're not pooping regularly, like, you're gonna be sick. You're going to be sick. It's just a matter of time before something catches up with you, because your food is sitting inside of you and fermenting. And it's worse than fermenting. It's rancidifying. It's becoming rancid. And so we have to move that out of the bowels. And so if you've got sluggish bowels, you can use something more assertive like a senna or a cascara, but for a lot of people, aloe, slippery elm, it's a little bit more gentle. Also, let's be sure to hydrate and all the things. And then the next thing we have to do is replace what's been lost. Because of years and years and years of leaky gut, guess what? You are going to end up being in a situation where you don't have enough fiber in your gut. You don't have enough vitamins. You don't have enough minerals. You don't have enough digestive enzymes. You might not have pancreatic enzymes. You might have a bile deficiency, or you might have not enough acid in your stomach at times when you need acid in your stomach. And so we replace what has been lost. And then the last one is honestly probably my favorite, because I think it's critical for the prevention of every single disease that exists. And that is rebalance your attitude. If you are chronically stressed, you're never going to heal anything. Like, I don't care what you're trying to heal. If you're stressed out about it, it's never going to heal. It's going to be a constant, just monkey on your shoulder. So remove the gut triggers, repopulate, repair, replenish, or replace, and then rebalance are the 5 steps that you can do that are going to help to heal your gut and really help to engineer your microbiome towards health.
Yes, that's so good. I really appreciate that. The 5 R's. If you're not taking notes, you definitely should be.
Yes.
But we also will be having recordings. So, and it's so true that, many people, many clients and patients I've come across as well, they've been told by the medical community that they're never going to be able to heal their leaky gut or their, diverticulitis or fill in the blank, autoimmune type things, those kinds of things that are connected to inflammation, really, when it comes to it. And, so have you seen a lot of people be able to find some level of healing and repair, even with those kinds of issues going on?
Everything heals. Everything under the sun heals. And so I firmly believe that. And so I just tell people, listen, keep the faith, because this is a moment where you can really choose whether to buy in to the conventional model and say, oh my gosh, I'm just bound and determined to be sick. Well, that's just simply not true. I think many a time we are told that, oh, these signs are just normal, but they're not just normal. They're really not. And so I encourage each and every one of you listeners, like, recognize that everything heals. And you don't have to do all those steps that I gave you in order. You can do one at a time. In fact, if you do nothing else than rebalance your attitude, you're going to be far, far along compared to people that are eating the right things but having a really bad time. And so don't be dogmatic with yourself, but do recognize that everything heals given the opportunity to heal.
Yes, that's so good. And it's so true. Many people I've come across and go, all I did was, I just only eat a salad every day. That's it. And I'm still like gaining weight or whatever, right? But if you look at the other factors going on and constant stress, lack of sleep, all these other things going on, some other dysregulation going on that's affecting it. So that's really good to just kind of focus on one thing at a time. And a lot of times I share with people how I had to go gluten-free at one point in my life, and it took me an entire year because I literally would just eliminate one area of gluten for like a whole month and just get a handle on that particular area, and then slowly move on to another area and slowly move on. So you find what works for you, and one thing at a time. Little by little, we give ourselves grace and compassion, and one thing at a time. That's perfect. Thank you.
One of my colleagues says, why don't you just spend an hour a week? If you spend an hour a week, and maybe week 1 you go, okay, well, I'm going to get rid of all my plastic food storage containers and I'm going to replace them with glass. And what if the next week you're like, okay, I really got to go buy new sneakers because I really want to go join the gym. Well, that's your hour. Your hour 1 week could be saying, all right, I need to cook a meal. And so I need to buy a water purifying system, whatever it is. And so just don't be dogmatic about it. Just do one thing at a time.
I think I've heard a quote, something along the lines of, change your habits, change your life. And, you can do that one thing at a time, one little tiny, however small it might be, thing at a time. That's all right. So to wrap up, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And tell us a little bit more about how everyone can stay connected with you, and if you have any social offers or resources going on.
Well, you can find me on social media at Lindsay Elmore, and you can also find me, that's on Instagram and Facebook. And then you can also find me at Dr. Lindsay Elmore on TikTok and Pinterest. And I also encourage you to listen to the Lindsay Elmore Show anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Check out my blog over at lindsayelmore.com. And if you'd like a subscription service to all of my functional medicine teaching and all of my one-on-one, you can head to wellnessmadesimple.us and you can get a week free just for showing up. And last but not least, if anybody wants to check out my favorite prebiotic, probiotic, and phytobiotic supplements that can be used to help heal the gut and really specifically to lead us to have better moods and better clarity and more focus and all of those things, head to lindsayelmore.com/amare. That's AMARE. And that will save you $10 off of anything that you decide to purchase.
Perfect. All right, and we will share those links in the chat as well for those of you who are interested, and we'll have some emails as well that provide you guys the information. All righty, well, thank you, we appreciate it, and have a good one.
Thank you.
Wow. That was awesome.
So
And I love-
much good information.
Yeah, and I love that she said, because like I'll admit for a minute, I was like, this is a lot of words I don't know. There's a lot of things. I'm like, I mean, I understand the gut health, but when you start using some of those big words, but like hearing from her too, like the main thing is your attitude. And that goes so along with, you know, like I recently watched a documentary called Heal, and there was like, they studied a few cases, like a bunch of cases of miraculous healing, going from, you know, stage 4 cancer, ready to die, to completely healed. And they asked everyone, what are all the things that you did? Tell us everything that you did. And then among all the people they asked, they found 9 things that were like exactly the same. And only 2 or 3 of them were related to like eating, like physical things. Almost all the rest of them were mental mindset type stuff, attitude type stuff. And so that is such a big thing. Like, even if you're like, I'm going to start this new program, you know, using herbs to make my life better, you have to have a good attitude about it, because it's more about how you're feeling about it, and the energy behind it is what's going to produce, you know, the results.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And apparently this is my sign too for doing an elimination diet. So
Yes. And I will tell you, that is one of the biggest things. I work with clients a lot on nutrition, and a lot of people, they, you know, we all want an easy fix. We all want a quick, like, take this thing, do this one thing, and boom, it's good. But it is a journey. And along the way, we are also learning to enjoy the journey, even though there are challenges, and that's reality, that's life. So whatever habit or area of your health that you're working on, mental health, emotional, physical, spiritual, just knowing that it's a journey, and there's going to be obstacles and challenges along the way, but how you approach those obstacles and challenges makes all the difference in the world. And just knowing, you know what, this is hard and I don't like it, but I know that it's going to get better. I know that things are going to work out eventually. I know that eventually I'm going to find a way through, under, over, around this obstacle or this challenge, right? And a lot of times when I work with people, when it comes to nutrition and gut health, it's easy to follow a diet, follow a plan, do this, eat these things, do these things, and that's great. And then it comes to an end. And then now what? Now what do we do?
yeah, like how do you sustain that? Like,
And so, yeah, the sustainability. And so a lot of times it's more important that you follow up, you know, it's important to do a detox and a cleanse. And it's really, really important what you do after your detox and your cleanse. Because think about it. If you have created this beautiful clean slate in your cells and your biology and your body, and then you're like, okay, I'm done with that, like whatever it is, fill in the blank, that diet or whatever, and now I'm gonna have cake and ice cream and and you just jam pack your body full of junk. What's gonna happen? You're just gonna create that trauma all over again for your cells and your gut and all the things. So yes, absolutely, do a really good a cleanse, a detox, but also embrace the journey and take it one step at a time, work on that attitude, like she said,
yeah.
and focus on what you're going to do after you complete maybe a process of that, how you're going to integrate in those healthy patterns long term, which we actually have put together a program that's going to help you with that. So you'll hear more about that. We will send you an email and some information
after the summit as well. But I do want to share just a little tidbit on music therapy. And like I said, we will have a couple minutes for questions at the end. So if there's something specific you want to know more about or ask one of our experts that have shared, please share those. As I said earlier, if you have a question for one of our experts who couldn't be here, then share the question. We'll send those over to them and forward them. So let me see, I'm going to share, this is a photo of our lovely music therapist, just so you can see her. Her name is Emily Brusso. She has a new music therapy program, and you can follow her on Instagram. We'll share her information. And she works with a wide range of people, but especially children. And I know that she has, based on what I've seen, a passion also working for children with special needs, children with ADHD and challenges and things like that. So please follow her. And she is adding more programs, and she'll be launching some things coming up soon. Just a quick tidbit on music therapy. It's not my area of expertise, but we all know the impact that music has on us. I mean, think about it. When your favorite song comes on, when you hear that song that you heard when you were a child that reminds you of beautiful memories, those sound vibrations, the music has a profound effect on our biology, our physiology, our neurochemicals. Your brain, your limbic system is activated. Your brain starts producing those happy chemicals, right? So, and Emily, by the way, just recently finished her PhD in music therapy as well. So highly knowledgeable and knows way more than I do. So
Wow.
please follow her. And if you are interested in any of those kinds of services and therapy, please go check it out and reach out to her. Music therapy, neurological music therapy, so much great information out there, but really it has such a profound impact on our brain. And you can just look up the research, but research studies show people heal faster when you incorporate sound vibrations and music, the right ones. And you'll even notice, like I've noticed this with my children. My oldest daughter is very sensitive to sound vibrations. And when someone is talking a certain way in a tone that is stern or upset or sad, or a music, like the first time we ever sang happy birthday to her on her first birthday, she cried, she bawled, because everyone was singing this sort of like happy birthday to you, like sort of like the tone. She was so sensitive to the tone. And I just was like, oh my gosh, poor little thing. She was 1 year old and she's like bawling her eyes out. But you know,
Wow.
we all have some level of sensitivity to different vibrations. And I'm a very faith-based person. And I mean, just thinking about how God spoke the world into existence, and the vibration of that created every molecule in existence, every star in the sky, everything is connected to that vibration. And if you study like molecules and stuff, just go study quantum physics. You'll be like, okay, you don't have to get a degree in it, but just look it up, and how things are so interconnected on a cellular, molecular level down to the protons and neutrons and electrons. Just go look at it. And those vibrations obviously are in music. So music helps activate both hemispheres of the brain together. So that allows better coordination. It allows people to improve their reading skills, children, adults, whoever, anybody. It is highly effective for things like traumatic brain injuries, Alzheimer's, dementia, strokes, any of those kind of neurological disorders and conditions, Parkinson's, cerebral palsy. You can see great improvements and benefits with using sound vibrations and music. There was also one other thing I was going to touch on, specifically activates cognitive, motor, and speech centers of the brain. When you are learning, just listening to music is great, but you level it up even more when you're learning to play something, whether that's an instrument or whatever it might be. You engage even more. So listening, great. But when you engage in the music and you move with the music, or you're learning to play the music, you get even more benefits. So that's why music therapy is absolutely phenomenal. But please follow our amazing music therapist, Emily. And she just has a beautiful heart, and I love what she does. And if you haven't listened to music recently, please do it. I love that my husband and I both love music. neither one of us are musicians, but we love it. I used to do dance. I did classical ballet for a long time. So classical music is like my thing. But my husband loves a whole variety. So yesterday we were literally just watching YouTube music on like lots of different really cool, unique artists doing like meshing together like classical music and techno or like all these different things. It's so neat to see.
Wow.
There's such a wide variety, so many beautiful different types of music out there. So go enjoy some music. If you dance or sing, play an instrument, go enjoy and see how you feel afterwards. You're going to have so many amazing endorphins going, your brain chemicals and everything. You're going to feel amazing. So that's a little bit on music therapy. And let's see if we have any questions. Check real quick here. I know it's getting late and everyone probably has to go soon.
Thank you.
Yes, Emily Brusso, Megan. I think you know her, I believe. Yes. All right. Thank you all for joining in. We'll give just a moment in case anyone, let me see if I missed any questions up here. Kind of variety. Thank you. Thank you. We have people from all over the place. So glad we could all come together. That's one thing I love about virtual events is people from all over the world can join in, learn from each other, encourage each other, support each other. And that's one of the reasons that we started Biology of the Soul, is to create a community where us women people can kind of walk alongside it and encourage each other. We can always learn from each other and support each other. I think a lot of us have commonalities in our health, motherhood, work, running businesses, whatever that might look like. So please connect with each other as well. And you can follow us on our YouTube, Biology of the Soul as well. We just kind of started getting things going. So we'll have lots of different things coming along the way. And like we mentioned before, we will have the recordings available to you guys. So be on the lookout in your emails. We'll have that available. And we put together a really special program that we are so excited to bring you, because we have learned so many incredible strategies here. And please connect with our amazing experts here. We are so excited to support each other and what everyone has to offer. But what we created is a way that we can walk alongside you in your journey of whatever your goals might be, that holistic well-being, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So be on the lookout in your emails. We will send that to you guys. And we will have all kind of a summary of the information from our experts that spoke as well, just so, because I know it's hard to take notes and a lot of us are busy doing so many things. Yes, thank you, Miranda. Miranda just shared her special offer for you guys, and each of our speakers has a special gift for you. So that's pretty amazing. We will be sending that over to you guys. All right. If there's not anything else, I think we can wrap
This was
it up.
awesome. Hearing from everybody was so amazing. And it's like so cool to hear people who have like very specific knowledge about things that can help us all. And that's like what's so awesome about, as humans, is that what may align with you may not, you may be very aligned with one of the speakers and not with the other. And that's like totally awesome. That's totally fine. Find what works for you. That's why we wanted so many different, speakers and so many different things, is that there's no one wrong way. I mean, listening to all of these people, like herbs help my life, RTT help my life, music help my life, like clean stuff help my life, like whatever it is, like follow the thing that feels best to you and go with that, run with that, start following the speakers that made you think, that made you go, oh, I wonder if that could be part of my life. If I could have, some of that peace in my life, if I can transmute some of this energy that's, this emotional energy that's trapped in my body, and what can I be, putting in my body that's better, it just be the beginning awareness of it. And allowing yourself to follow what feels right and what feels good, because it will lead you to the information that your body, your soul is seeking.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, we will wrap it up. I think that is about it. Of course, you do have our information. You can ask questions and we'll get you all of that information.
Okay. All right, awesome. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
everybody. This is
guys.
amazing.
And we'll probably have more events coming up because this was pretty fun.
Yeah, this was
and,
super fun.
I think we really enjoyed it. So stay in touch and we'll let you know. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.